Hello and welcome to Health Scan. My name is Futoon Sati and this is our fourth program of a series of Health Scan on the Andalus television. With me in the studio is Mr. Gerard Kielty, and hello Gerard.
Hello,
and
once
welcome.
again. Hi. And it's good to be back.
It's good to see you
We're getting a lot
again.
of response, we're getting lots of inquiries, and we're looking forward to making lots of people healthy around the world. We're going into a more relaxed mode at the moment. As you can see, I've taken my jacket off.
Yes.
And again, I'm going to be talking to people directly to the camera so that we can relate rather than having you to explain everything in detail.
Yes.
It's better sometimes if I do that. So it's great, keep those emails coming and those faxes coming, and get involved because from the next program onwards we're going to be answering them, and you're going to get lots of good health advice. So you're doing your part well, keep it going.
Okay. I understand, Gerard, you have carried a clinical trials for the Migraine Association, and you also give talks about for people about your work, and you also talk to a group of people like the UK ECZEMA Association and Women Institute. What do you say to that? What do you tell us about that?
Over the years there's been lots of cases like that where I've been asked to do these trials because of what I say. Basically what they're saying is, well, show us, which is great. I'm happy to do that. And I've had a great deal of success too. We'll be talking a little bit about my book later maybe, but a lot of the information and the evidence of what I've done is in that book. But to cut a long story very short, I actually cured an awful lot of people in these various organisations. Now, you would think that that would be enough for them to tell everybody about me, that is membership. But it doesn't work that way. You get 2 or 3 lines in their brochure, their monthly brochures or something, and half the time it's not quite what you want or quite what it was. The information's not, shall we say, I'm not saying it's not right. It's twisted a little bit, so it doesn't actually tell the whole story. So people don't really believe, or they're not given the information that they should be given when there is something out there that can cure them. So it's not in the people's interest that run these organisations, if you really think about it, to tell them about someone that can cure them, because they would probably have to close down and go and set up and get another job because they've got 20, 30, 40, 60, 100,000 members, and it's a nice living. And you can imagine all the things that go on in terms of money making. And most of them are charities anyway, so they don't have to pay taxes. They get nice grants from the government, so they wouldn't necessarily want to change too much. Yes. That's what I'm trying to say. I
see here that you treat professional sportsmen and women. How does this scan testing help them?
Well, if you're going to be top in anything, it doesn't matter whether it's sports or whether it's school or just feeling great every second of every day. If you're going to be good, you've got to be the best. You've got to have a brain that doesn't actually be poisoned on a day-to-day basis. Now, I scanned Premier Division football teams in England. A whole team's been sent to see me. But the thing is, they previously had all been treated as a group. They're given dietary advice by nutritionists and doctors and so on, and they're all told they must lots of carbohydrates, lots of this, that. But what they're forgetting is that although these guys are team players, they're all individuals. They've all got their own brain.
Each one is different.
I treat them as individuals. For the first time in their lives, they actually come to me, and I tune up that computer in their head. I can find what makes it work properly. And they go out there and they're top of their profession because they're better than the opposition, who hasn't been to see me. And that's what gives them the edge. They're 1 or 2 seconds faster, they've got a lot more energy, they're more alert, or whatever it happens to be. And that's what wins medals. In fact, I had the 2000 Olympics, Winter Olympics, I had a medalist that won, which I was very proud of.
Very interesting.
But there's lots of top sports people, golfers come to see me, snooker players, I'm talking household names here. Lots of people around the world who want to be the best at what they do, and this is the way to do it.
You do scan racehorses as well, I believe.
I was asked to scan some racehorses. I thought it was funny, but then I thought, well, why not? These horses have got a nervous system
as well,
just like we have, and they get headaches, I guess, just like we do. Why shouldn't they? or arthritis or any of the other things I cure. Horses cough a lot, so it's all related.
Yeah.
And I've scanned several in Spain. I've scanned several horses in Epsom, in England, race horses that were doing very well as a result of it.
That's
in
good.
fact,
Interesting.
Lots
very
of interesting stories.
Yeah, very
on
interesting.
That one, how they did improve. So there's lots of potential there
Yes.
for horses. I don't have a lot of time to do race horses. I'm always interested in looking at top race horses, really to try and just get the edge. That would be interesting if anybody wants to call me on that. Also, I guess it's only a matter of time before I get asked to scan camels, because I do a lot of work with our Arab friends around the world. But it'll work for them too.
You mentioned before that you've written a book a while ago, you mentioned, and about food intolerance. Is it published yet, this book?
No, it's called, well, at the moment it's called A Simple Drug-Free Way to Good Health. It may change. I've just finished writing it.
Yes.
I've just finished it. It's basically everything that's happened to me, all the ups and the downs, because it's not all been smooth sailing. You can imagine if I cure people without drugs, there's lots of people who'd rather I didn't. But generally speaking, most of the world of health are very happy with what I do and would like to see a lot more of it. It tells lots of stories about how people have become cured, and the evidence is there to prove what I say. It also talks a lot about the medical profession, and as I said earlier in my last program, I believe, people don't want to change too many things when they're at the very top of their profession, for obvious reasons. So it looks in great detail at how people are suffering. It shows how you can get healthy without drugs. It's very simple, it really is. When people get to know the foods they need to remove from the diet, the things that mostly cause the problems. It looks at the money that's been made at all sorts of levels out of people being unhealthy.
That's right.
By drug companies and so on. But the answer to your question is no. At this moment in time, it's just been finished. I've sent it to a couple of publishers that have shown an interest. And if there's anybody else out there that'd like to talk to me about that, well, get in touch quickly, because it won't be there for very long, I'm sure. It's a book that will change the world of medicine for the better.
That will be very interesting to read, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a copy of it very soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I know that your work takes you around the world, and you have a clinic in Harley Street in London. You worked in the Middle East, and you worked here in Spain.
Yes, basically like most people who do well in a trade, if you get to Harley Street, you've really hit the heights as far as medical profession is concerned. I'm the only one in Harley Street that I know of that is capable or qualified in this technology. I spent many years going up and down to Harley Street when I lived in and around London, and I think I've probably done enough of that now. I will still be going backwards and forwards from time to time, but not as much. My work has taken me to many countries now. And I'm off to California in another month or so to do some work out there. And there's a possibility I might even be in Jordan before too long.
That's good. That will be very good.
And there's lots of things happening. Basically, wherever I go in the world, people need what I do. So having done the Harley Street thing, I've sort of moved on from that now. But it was interesting, and there's a lot of information in my book about Harley Street and what happens and what doesn't happen. Because they're not all nice people up there that like to make people better. So a lot of them like to make money too. So there's lots of interesting stuff in there.
Yes, I can't wait to read this book. When patients leave your clinic, Gerard, do they wait for their results to be healthy, or it will be sent to them, or do they have it immediately?
No, that's the beautiful thing. What happens is they get a scan, a printout, which they can have immediately. Because as I press on the finger and send a signal to the brain, the same signal they would get if they eat the foods, the brain responds. So I know if their brain wants that signal from chicken or banana or tomato or whatever it happens to be. So you get a printout, and it's immediate. So there's no waiting around for results to be sent on. And you see the results coming up on the screen just as I do. Can I just interrupt there? Can I just quickly read a couple of letters?
Sure.
I know on many of these programs that we've done so far, the first three, I've shown lots and lots of letters, and I've read one or two minor. But I'd like to go through a couple.
Please. Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes, please do that.
Because they are important. It is for you out there that the people write the letters. It's not for me. I know it works. It's for you to have the evidence that it works. So it's important that we nip through and have a look at some of these things from time to time. I know we haven't got a lot of time, but I will. These are very important things. This one's from a sufferer of arthritis. For many, many years, I've been a sufferer of chronic osteoarthritis, registered disabled. So she couldn't work and basically was on a payment, I guess, for being disabled. I've been happily following the advice given and have to report that the results so far have been tremendous. The constant arthritic pain has subsided and I feel a different person altogether. After such nagging pain for so long, I can hardly believe it myself. Nevertheless, it's true. 1,000 thanks for helping me to overcome my debilitating complaint. So one scan for a registered disabled and the problems have gone away.
It's unbelievable.
Isn't that incredible?
Unbelievable.
ME. We've talked about ME in one or two of the other programs, but ME is basically a condition where doctors will diagnose when they don't know what's going on. They've given you most things that they can think of and you're still not very well. So as a last result, it's more or less, we've got ME, I can't help you, just live with it or snap out of it or do whatever you need to do or move away or whatever. This lady came to see me. She could hardly walk up 3 steps into my clinic. Middle-aged lady. I came to see you 3 months ago to have an allergy test done. I'd suffered from ME for 5 years and also had a major problem with food intolerance. I tried different things, but nothing seemed to work. I will admit that I came to you with a fair degree of skepticism. Now, that's not unreasonable. Why should people not be skeptical about what I do? Because they haven't heard about it before, and it's hard to believe. But the fact is that, as you will come to learn, it works. But she felt that there was no harm in trying it. Well, she said, I'm here now. I'm writing to say a big, and this is in capital letters, thank you for giving me back my life. Isn't that lovely?
Fantastic.
My gut problems have sorted themselves out, and provided I stick to the list of safe foods, and my energy level has increased to such a level that I'm able to do things I thought I would never be able to do again. We're just back from a holiday in the Lake District. That's a mountainous area in England. And I managed to climb two mountains, one at 1,500 and the other at 2,000 feet. And it goes on to say thank you. And she could hardly walk. She couldn't walk 3 steps into the clinic, and she's climbing mountains 2,000 foot high after one scan.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
And lastly, and by no means least here today, this was a 5-year-old girl that was treated at a local hospital to my clinic in London for IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. And there's a lot of that out there, believe me, and I've yet to find a case I haven't cured with one visit. Earlier this year, we brought our 5-year-old son, David, a little boy, to see you. You identified 17 items to avoid, consisting mostly of potatoes, vegetables and pork. For the last year, he has suffered stomach cramps between 2 and 7 o'clock each day and made his life unbearable, with him going to the toilet almost hourly. The 5-year-old with terrible stomach problems. Within about 5 days, we noticed a dramatic improvement, and within 2 weeks of the scan, his symptoms had almost disappeared altogether.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
It's now August, some 5 months since we saw you, and he appears cured, if that is the right word to use. In January this year, we were given an appointment. They took him back to this specialist hospital. We were given an appointment to see a consultant at Epsom Hospital. We told the consultant of David's improvements, and she said she could find no scientific explanation for the sudden change in David's health. Now, she doesn't need a scientific explanation. The child's healthy. But yet that particular consultant still didn't want to believe it. And she suggested we reintroduce the foods, and that they had taken out one at a time. And she said they should make no difference, that it's wrong, it cannot be the foods. Crazy woman. A few days later, we gave David his foods again, a pork sausage, which he enjoyed. And within 6 hours, he was curled up on a settee with stomach cramps and diarrhea. And they just said it'd go on back to the scan and forget the hospital because they don't need a child's healthy. Can you believe that? I've cured the child, and this is not one case. There are hundreds, maybe thousands over the years where the doctors refuse to accept it. The people are cured. You cannot argue with results.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. I would like to ask you about how you treat arthritis, for example. How do you get to treat it?
Well, again, if you poison your brain, and people are doing that with drugs called food, everything's a drug, whether it's heroin or chicken or banana or tomato. If you poison your brain with drugs, it'll give you problems. And those problems in some cases are called pain.
Yes.
You can have a pain in your head from drinking a bottle of whiskey, or you can get a pain in your head from eating a lettuce if your brain doesn't want that drug.
Yes.
Now, it doesn't have to stay in your head. It can go down a wire cord, a nerve, and it does.
Yes.
Pain travels around the body in the nervous system. So it'll go to the joints, where if it wishes, it'll go anywhere it wishes. And it'll travel down the weakest path. It's a bit like water trying to get out of a barrel. It'll find the weakest route.
Yes.
That's my general experience. So if you've got a damaged wrist, or you had an operation on it or whatever, that's weaker than one you haven't had damaged.
Yes.
So the bad signal will travel down to that point. Pain doesn't come from your wrist or your arm or your knee. Pain goes to your wrist, your arm, and your knee. It comes from your brain. But your brain only sends out a bad signal if you put one in. And you're doing that every day with your foods. If you only knew it. And again, I often make the comparison that vegetables may be healthy for you, may not, but nobody checks. I mean, they grow in the ground just like any other drugs do, so why shouldn't they be unhealthy? In fact, vegetables do cause lots of health problems in my experience, and I've got an awful lot of experience of curing people. Believe me, they're not all they're cracked up to be. We eat vegetables because our parents tell us they're good for us. It's passed on generation after generation. Everything around us, when we're old enough to read, will tell us they're good for us. But nobody, until they come to people like me, they're not checked. And when they're checked, I find they cause serious health problems. Not to everybody.
Amazing.
Everybody's got their own brain, so until we check, we don't know. And it's not all vegetables. But if you ask me, what group of foods cause the most health problems, I would tell you without a shadow of doubt that vegetables are the biggest cause of health problems.
Yes, and they, and they don't have to stop taking this one kind of vegetable, for example, if they are intolerant to it for forever. It's only for a short period, few months.
Sure, yeah. I mean, if they stop putting in the things that are causing the problem, the problem goes away. So the computer fixes itself, it repairs itself, it becomes stronger as a result of not being poisoned every day. So on a second scan, and it is ideally advisable maybe once a year to have a scan done, it's like tuning a car up, keeping it running well. Your brain can handle that drug it couldn't handle a year ago. So it's not forever. You haven't got to give anything up forever. Just turn yourself into a wonderfully healthy chemistry set, a person whose brain is not being poisoned for the first time in your life, and it'll actually run your body so well you will not believe. And you can go back to most of the foods in time. It's a very short time in your life to be without them, 1 year or 6 months or whatever it happens to be. But as a result, you'll get seriously healthy, and that's what you want.
What is IBS?
IBS is irritable bowel syndrome.
I see.
Sorry about that. Quite often we abbreviate things.
Yes.
Irritable bowel syndrome. Irritable bowel syndrome. Do you remember I was talking about the little child here that went to Epsom Hospital, the 5-year-old David, with irritable bowel syndrome? And it really is a nasty thing. It's not controlled by the brain. It's the only thing in your body that is not controlled by your brain, because irritable bowel syndrome is in your digestive system. But over the years, and having scanned thousands of people and experimented and I found all the answers. I know exactly how to get rid of it. And I will give you all that advice combined with the information we get from your brain on a scan. There's nothing else you need. All you've got to do is listen to your brain for once in your life, which gives us all the information we need, and plus the information I can give you on your digestive system, and you're a healthy person within a month or so.
Yes, that's right, If people need further information, do they, after they have the scan, they come to you and have the scan? Is this available to them a month after or weeks after? Yeah,
of course. I wouldn't presume to anybody who needs me. I mean, when you pay for my services, and it doesn't cost a lot, as you know, and it varies around the world, but it's still very cheap for what I do. When you leave my clinic, it's not the end of anything. It's the beginning. That's what you pay for. If you need me, if you need to talk to me, you need to check anything with me, I'm on the email, the fax, whatever, telephone, do it. And I don't care how many times you do it. You need to get that advice. Mostly people don't have to do that because they've got all the information at the beginning of the scan. But if they need it, or you need to check anything, well, I insist you get in touch with me. Because the crazy thing is if you do it and you guess wrong, you can get worse or whatever. It's crazy for the sake of a fax or an email.
Yeah.
So yes, there's plenty of backup advice available.
That's fantastic. A while ago you talked about ME. Can you explain that more? Talk about
yeah,
it
well,
more
basically,
details?
ME is something that I
Yes.
find a lot of people come to the clinic complaining having been diagnosed with ME.
That's right.
And it really
yes.
is so simple to deal with. ME is food intolerance. Every single time that I've had an ME condition come to my clinic, I've cured them. And I do mean every single time. It's food intolerance. It's the one thing that no doctors, generally speaking, will be looking at. It's the one thing that they're missing, and that's exactly where the problems are occurring. And that's why your GP is not in a position to cure you, because they're not looking in the right place for the solution to the problem. They're trying to give you something to create a better feeling, whether it's a drug that makes you down or up.
Yes.
So that you snap out of this depressed state or whatever ME puts you into. Basically, it's a big grey area in the world of medicine, and doctors do not seem to know what's going on. It's food intolerance every single time, and you don't need any drugs of any kind for any of these health problems, and especially ME.
That's fantastic. Can I ask you, what's the difference between food allergy and food intolerance?
Very good. A food allergy is not something that happens in the brain. A food intolerance occurs in the brain. That's the electrical resistance from the food that the brain has to that signal. So basically, to recap for the viewers, some of you maybe didn't see our previous programs. Your brain's a computer. It runs on electricity. You get the electricity your nervous system needs from the food you put into your body. The food breaks down, becomes a chemical, and it releases that electricity to your nervous system. And through your brain, passes around a circuit. If we didn't have electricity, we'd be defibrillated like a car with a flat battery that's jump-started. There's no difference. It's exactly the same thing. So we get the electricity to stay alive by putting food in. If we didn't put food in, we wouldn't be alive for very long, because we'd run out of electricity and run fat. So the signals arrive at our brain from the foods, and that's the only thing that arrives at your brain, the signal from the food. And if your brain doesn't want that signal, or has become fed up with it, well, that's called food intolerance, and that's what I'm measuring, whether your brain wants that signal, and to what degree your brain can cope with that signal. And your brain will tell us, and that's all you need. Your brain will give us that information, and it's the most accurate information you can get, because it's come straight out of your head, and it works every single time. Whereas an allergic response is something that occurs down here in the glands, the chemistry that gets kicked out by the body to try and keep you healthy. It's our immune system, basically.
Yes.
That's run by your brain,
Yes.
so you've got to get the brain working properly if you want to be healthy.
Yeah. So you can be allergic to something and not intolerant to it.
You can. That's why everybody comes to my clinic, wherever I'm in the world. On the form they'll be showing, I ask a question, are you allergic? Do you have any known allergies? Because if you come to my clinic with an allergy for, peanuts, for example, well, you'll go away with one as well, because I'm not testing for allergies. But to be honest with you, most people have been tested for allergies. They find very little or nothing. It's usually house dust mite or carpet dust or grass or some nonsense like that. It's ridiculous. When in fact, when you get your brain working properly, your body's running so well that you haven't got any problems. So you don't need any allergy testing done, because you're healthy.
Yes, yeah. You
Simple,
don't have
really.
allergy anymore.
Yeah. Can I just jump in there on it before we
Yes.
finish, because I know we're running a bit short on time. What we need is, and we say this on every program, this is our last program now where we're going to be talking in great detail about my work. What we want to do is we want to start talking to you people out there in the world with the health problems. We want you to get involved. We want you to become part of this program. I want to give you help. I want to give you advice based on the 10,000 people I've cured over the years. Get your health questions into us. I don't care how they come in. You can see emails and faxes and phone numbers all over the screen from time to time. So get them into us, because if you don't do it, this is your one opportunity now to change these things around the world. People can be healthy. Also, anybody living locally to Marbella that would like to come in and see me, we can talk to them in the studio. They're more than welcome, especially if you've got something like skin problems, because it'd be great to show the before and after.
Yes.
But we want people to get involved locally. They can come in and talk about their problems. I'll scan them. We can talk about their health problems, the things that are causing the problems. And then we can show them when they've recovered. Isn't that wonderful? That's what you need. You need to see it in working and the results, rather than just listening to people talking. So it's up to you guys out there. We can talk all day long, but if you don't do your bit, it's not going to happen. And if you're waiting for the medical profession to do it, well, you're going to be waiting an awful long time, I promise you that. Or the drug companies, for that matter.
How many problems do you usually find in one scan, in a normal scan?
I test about 180 different foods. It's mostly about 110 or so foods that I test, plus 30 herbs and spices. I test for E numbers, the colours that go into food that have been blamed for all sorts of wonderful problems like hyperactivity with children. I don't know who puts all this misinformation out, but in my experience, I cure hyperactivity, hyperactive children all the time. Mm-hmm. It's got nothing to do with E numbers, nothing at all. It's got everything to do with things like the fruit or the vegetables or the chewing gum or whatever it is that you're giving the kids on a day-to-day basis. I test for about 30 different herbs and spices, and I test for dusts and feathers and cat's hair and dog's skin and all sorts of things. So we look at about 170 or 80 different items. And out of that, I'll find maybe 20 that you shouldn't be putting into your body because your brain doesn't want them. And out of those 20, maybe 2 or 3 you're putting in every day. Well, those are the things you've got to really zoom in on because those are the things that are giving your brain the problem. And that's why your brain's giving you the problem. Simple, really.
Very simple. Very simple and easy. Do patients need to see you once in order to get healthy, or they have to repeat coming to you?
Once.
Once will cure them.
Yeah, we can do the whole thing in one go. People fly from all over the world. It doesn't matter whether I'm in Harley Street or Marbella or the Middle East in Dubai or Abu Dhabi or Jordan or wherever I happen to be. People will come because they know about me. They know about me because I've treated people they know. So recommendations are the people that basically distance doesn't come into it. If you've got a problem with your health and you know somebody can cure it and you're certain they can do that, then provided you can afford the air flight, it's the best money you'll ever spend. So basically, get on an airplane and come and see me. I can fly out to see people. I do that. The larger the group, the cheaper it becomes per head. But my time is fairly restricted, and obviously it's quite expensive.
You're busy all the time.
I'm busy wherever I am in the world.
Yes.
But I like to see other countries. I like to meet new people and cultures and so on. I do travel a lot, and while I'm young, I'll carry on doing that.
Yes.
So basically, if you want me to come and see you, it's just a matter, obviously, of working out a few details. Yes, obviously, costs will come into that. But I am available to travel anywhere in the world.
That's great. As usual, Gerard, we always run out of time. Very soon the half hour disappears. Thank you very much for coming to the studio and telling us, explaining so well about your work. And it's now up to you, the viewers, to contact us. Please do contact us. Mr. Kielty will be very happy to help you, to give you advice about your health problems. Email and fax and telephone numbers, they will be on the screen in a moment. And thank you very much for being with us once again, and I wish you all a very good health. Thank you.